you a talkSPORT fan? I know you like your football, but do you get to listen to talkSPORT a lot?
I do. And I've been kind of listening to it more than ever this season as an Arsenal fan.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Kind of had, I guess, like more of an investment in this season than maybe previous. That's not to say I'm a fair weather fan, but
it sounds like exactly what you want. you
no,
don't like.
I promise you, I've ridden every wave since I was a boy. It's just that we were at least on the crest of a wave for a long time this season.
You're obviously on a massive tour at the moment, aren't you? You're in America, you're in here, you're talking to loads of different people, and you've got a massive boot on your left foot. What on earth's happened? How have you managed to do that?
Yeah, I wish there was like a cool stunt story or
Just
something
make one
behind
up.
it. But I'm going to have to. The reality is very boring. I was actually playing basketball in the States, and I just learnt my lesson. I'm too British, and I should stick to football. And I basically rolled it, trying to play a sport that I had no business playing.
Yeah, why are you English? Why are you playing basketball?
I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to fit in over there, and I failed.
Yeah, failed miserably. Talk to me, Will. Guardians of the Galaxy, number 3.
Yep.
It's out. It's getting unbelievable reviews.
Oh.
For some of the talkSPORT listeners who maybe haven't seen this yet, or any of the previous movies, just give us, if you can, obviously no spoilers, a little flavour of what they can expect.
Yeah, so Guardians of the Galaxy, I would say is kind of one of the more kind of like comedic turns within the MCU. And this film has kind of been designed as kind of malevolent as this sounds. It's been designed to make you cry and laugh, you know. It's I think as emotional and kind of cathartic as it is funny. Hopefully you're maybe crying with laughter as well at some point, and there's some crossover in the Venn diagram of what this film has to offer. But it's kind of known for kind of being one of the sort of wackier and kind of bolder films, I guess, within the Marvel universe, and a great soundtrack too.
Yeah, and how did this opportunity come about for you to get involved in this?
Yeah, so I got asked to audition in June 2021, and I was working on something else at the time. I kind of taped, thinking I would never hear back, and I kind of kept sort of getting through the rounds until eventually the final audition, which was in September. Like I flew out to Atlanta for a screen test and ended up getting the role, man, which I feel really, really grateful for, and particularly because I was a fan of the Guardians, from the outside looking in, first and foremost. So then to find yourself in it and amongst the cast is pretty surreal.
Just out of interest, when you go through that interview process, because I mean, you've been in, it sounds crazy to think that you had to go through an interview process, right? Because, everybody knows who you are. You've been in so many movies and everything. What's that process like? Is it nerve-wracking, or are you used to this now? Because you've obviously, you've been in a lot of movies now for many years.
Well, that's kind of you to say. I don't know. There are times where I do feel like I'm really genuinely still at the beginning of my career, and obviously I'm relatively young, and I'm always in a position to kind of learn. And I found even just the auditioning process to be quite kind of like character building. And I will say I'm a bad auditioner.
Well, you got the roles.
I don't know. I was surprised as anyone else.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty nervous individual, and I get very nervous under pressure. So I'm not the best auditioner. I prefer to kind of make tapes and send them in, which has become more prevalent like since COVID. So that's one of the kind of positives to come out of the pandemic for me personally, work-wise. When I'm asked to be in the room, I'm normally a kind of nervous wreck. So
dread to think what the other candidates were like then. You were a nervous wreck and hated it and still got the role.
I got lucky.
Your character, again, if you can, just tell the listeners a little bit about your character and his role in this movie.
Yeah. So my character's name is Adam Warlock, and Adam exists in comics that kind of predate, I guess, the Guardians. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I say that, but Marvel fans will correct me if I have spoken out of turn there. And he's introduced, kind of teased at the end of the second movie, and this third movie is kind of his introduction. And at least initially, he's sort of pitted as a threat against the Guardians, and so as featured in the trailer, and I'm not in spoiler territory here, but he kind of does battle with the Guardians initially. And the film, I guess, explores something of his evolution, his development, and kind of where he's going to sort of place himself on the kind of moral chart, and also what side of the line he's going to kind of toe as far as good and evil is concerned.
And when the movie comes out and it's in cinemas, are you someone that likes to go online? Do you like to see what people are saying about it? Because I don't want to make you blush, but I mean, reading online over the weekend and just talking to people that have seen the movie, It's got a lot of love. I mean,
that's awesome.
Some of the reviews are absolutely outstanding. I think the numbers as well of people going in to see it. Am I right in saying it's broken records?
I think it is the biggest 3-day opening weekend
in
the UK this year. So that's really nice. And that means a lot that, fans are connecting with it too. And obviously the most important thing for us is that the fandom that have made the films, what they are up until this point. Certainly, I feel this is a newcomer coming in. They feel like, we've done justice to the legacy of the films.
You certainly have done that. And then there's the newcomer coming in. I mean, some of the names in the movie, absolutely massive. I mean, do you still get a little bit of nerves as you enter,
Definitely.
Yeah,
like don't say anything stupid. Don't embarrass yourself as the newbie fanboy on set. No, 100%. But they made me feel really at home and welcome from day one. And that's not something that I'm saying because I'm on a press tour. I mean, I genuinely mean it. They're just actually really lovely people who really kind of extended themselves to make me feel welcome. And I'm grateful for that.
When sort of a talkSPORT, when we get ex-footballers on or any sports, we always talk about dressing room banter and pranks and sort of what the lads will get up to in their downtime. I mean, was there any sort of pranks, banter when not filming on set?
Do you know what? There's constant sort of like joking around on set 'cause there's just so many like funny human beings around. And Chris Pratt certainly kind of sets a really kind of fun tone in that regard. James is also really keen for us to kind of experiment and improvise and throw things out, and he's constantly kind of yelling out alt lines, from behind the monitor, and that's really fun. And Pom is someone who's just like constantly laughing on set. She's got the most infectious laugh as well, and is constantly making everyone laugh.
Will there be a number 4? I know it's been said no, but you can never say never, right?
You can never say never. I guess I would say that this is it's being kind of framed as the end of the ride for the Guardians, but only as you know them, I would say.
We are talkSPORT. We love our football.
Yeah.
We touched on it briefly at the top. I've got to ask you about your beloved Arsenal.
Yes.
Laura Woods, the presenter on talkSPORT Breakfast. She's a massive gooner.
I know.
It was looking so good, wasn't it, for such a long period of time? Where has it gone wrong? And do you think this sort of, some people say, Arsenal have bottled the league, they've chucked it away. Do you think that sort of tag being put on Arsenal is maybe a little bit harsh?
I think, first and foremost, and I think this is probably the perspective of most Arsenal fans, you've got to take an immense amount of pride in what we've achieved, in a relatively short period of time. Like Arteta managing what is effectively his first club, right? His second season has spent the majority of the season at the top of the league. That's an unbelievable achievement. I think particularly with the greatest of respect, when you think about the squad that he inherited and where he is now, totally changing the culture. I think revitalising the Emirates Stadium, I think the atmosphere there is unbelievable, and that's been massive to, I think, how we've performed and played a massive role in some of the results we've been able to kind of pull out, even relatively last minute. So that all needs to be kind of focused on, I think, more so than us bottling it. Look, City are unbelievable.
There's no shame coming second to Man City.
There's no shame, and squad depth wise, and for various other reasons, they're on a sort of different level to us. I don't think any Arsenal fan would disagree with that, but it's not totally over. I think whatever happens this season, we can take an immense amount of pride in where we're at, and it's exciting, for the future. We're building towards the future, and the squad age and how we're performing all kind of points to that.
It's just bitter, jealous Tottenham fans, I think, having to go at Arsenal. That's
I wouldn't
all
be
it is,
surprised.
I think.
It would not surprise me.
Just trying to think of sort of Arsenal players as Marvel characters. I mean, who do you think would make the best superhero?
Oh my gosh. William Saliba would be some sort of rock. He'd maybe be the Thing. Just rock hard and solid, and we've missed him, and he's obviously a big part of why I think things have not necessarily kind of materialised in the way that we'd hoped in the last few games. I think Bukayo Saka, someone with rapid speed. I
thought that for me, him as the superhero.
Yeah,
that cheesy smile, that pace, that exuberance, it's got to be him, no?
Bukayo Saka, Superman.
Have you met him before?
Let's have it right. I've never met Bukayo. No, but he's Superman.
Yeah. Villain.
I
mean, I was thinking maybe Granit Xhaka came to mind initially. I think you know why, don't you?
I can't say a bad word about Granit. All the villains play for Tottenham, to be honest.
Name names. Richarlison, maybe.
Any of them. Pitt. Yeah, any of it. Yeah. That might be a good shout.
In this country as well, in terms of sort of football and acting, at talkSPORT, I mean, the name Ryan Reynolds is literally being mentioned, isn't it? Almost every single day, given what he's been doing at Wrexham.
Yeah.
Have you have interest? Do you know Ryan well? And is that something you'd be interested in maybe one day as you get a little bit older, having a bit of fun going down the lower leagues and buying your local team?
I'd be very lucky if I ever got to do that. My second team is Doncaster Rovers. I feel I should give them a shout out because my dad is from Doncaster. Donny Rovers, I have a major soft spot for. But no, really lovely. I think the story at Wrexham is great, and obviously like one that a lot of people have been able to kind of emotionally invest in. It's wonderful what's happened there, and they've done a great job.
And just out of interest, obviously busy day here. You've done Virgin Radio this week, haven't you? How much more of this have you got to do? And is it something you enjoy doing? You're kind of used to it now?
Yeah, man. London is kind of the last stop on the press tour, and it's been really, really fun to kind of come home and see how folks in the UK are responding to the movie. And it's really nice to see familiar faces such as yourself, and just have some good chats. And I'm enjoying it, and particularly when it comes to a film like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's been a really fun experience.
And just one more if I can. I know you also, Jason Sudeikis very well, don't you?
Yeah.
He was actually in this building a couple of weeks ago as well.
Cool.
He did Virgin Radio.
Yes, I heard that, yeah.
You've seen Ted Lasso, haven't you?
Of course, yeah.
One of the best things ever made?
Oh my gosh. My friend Colin Bikini is in it too. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see the success of that show, and I'm very happy for everyone involved. If you like football and you like comedy, that is certainly a good thing to watch.
Just looking at you, by the way, we've built up this bromance, haven't we? Is it a bromance?
Oh, I'd say so.
You said I look familiar, so I'm assuming that's a bromance. I can see you being the next James Bond. You must get that a lot.
I mean, listen, I think there's some more exciting choices out there, to be honest.
All right. Names?
I definitely have my favourites, but it's getting so down to the wire now with actually like who is going to, I think, get the role that it might add unnecessary levels of speculation to all of that. So I'll keep cards close to the chest.
And just finally, Guardians of the Galaxy is out. Come on, tell the talkSPORT listeners, if they haven't seen it already, why should they go and see it?
Yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is, visually and from a sound perspective too, one of the most kind of stunning things I've seen in a while. And it's also a perfect blend of drama and comedy. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry. And as I say, it might make you do both at times. It's a really, really wonderful kind of culmination of all of those things, and a perfect tribute to the trilogy.